Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. I'm Caroline Chant, and I'm a rising senior in high school. Today, I had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Willis, the Senior Associate Director of Admissions at Crystal Springs Uplands School. I hope you all enjoy our conversation. Yeah, hi, Mr. Willis. Thank you again for taking the time to come and speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yes, no
And
problem.
and before we get into more of the field of education, I wanted to first ask you a bit about yourself. So
hmm
I wanted to ask, did you know that you wanted to work in education or anything related to what you're doing now when you were in high school?
No, I don't think that was on my mind in high school. It's one of those things where I think probably not until the latter part of college is really when I started to have any idea that this might be a path for me. And even then, it was still only an inkling of an idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I was wondering when you were a high schooler, kind of like what were you interested in doing? How did that?
So, of course, when I was in high school, there were all kinds of cool things happening. Actually, I'm so old that, the computer age was just dawning as far as like really getting personal computers were really sort of, jumping off, and that computer science was actually becoming a real major in college. So that was actually one of the things that I was thinking about. Business, of course. Seen a lot of businessmen had actually worked with some folks and did some internships. So I kind of thought, yeah, I might go into that idea. And then there was even the idea of maybe being an ambassador. And
That's so cool.
working at the embassy or something like that. That sort of started to trickle in my mind, in particular when I got to college and I was doing a lot of international relations classes.
Mhm. That's so interesting. And what led you to decide to go into like education and like admissions and that?
So it's like anything else. You get a mentor, and the next thing you know, somebody's talking to you about it as an option or a pathway. And you know, I think it was one of those things where I was always being asked to give tours, to talk to people about my experience, about what I was learning, what I was enjoying about college, and the next thing I know, it became sort of like one of the things that they said, you know what, you might be good at this admissions thing, and I'm like, going, is that a job? And they said, well, yes, it is, and so. That's kind of how it ended up happening that I started to look at some possible options for that.
Yeah, that's so cool. And
And then it was my alma mater, so it was even easier
oh,
because I knew so much about it already.
yeah, for sure. Like I feel like there's a lot of things that personally like I feel like with being an ambassador in middle school, I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
Right.
I really enjoyed giving tours to families and
hmm
speaking on panels and stuff because like before that's not something that I would have volunteered to do, and it led me to like do it in high school too. And I think, yeah, I kind of relate to what you were saying.
Right. It
And
just kind of came.
yeah, I feel like a lot of things come like that. And I saw that you ran track and field in college.
hmm
Is that correct? Um,
I ran track. I played football.
oh wow, like
Uh, yeah. So yeah, I was doing a lot.
yeah, that sounds like a lot to sport. What events did you run?
The 400, the 200, the 300 hurdles, um, and long jump sometimes, depending on if the need was there. And then, of course, I was on the 4x4
Mm-hmm.
relay.
The 400's really, that's probably the hardest one I did when I ran.
It can be brutal,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
but it's lots of fun when you have a successful race. I mean, because there's a lot to be said for it, and the challenges that it brings, and you have to actually be in your own head sometimes about it. So yeah,
I,
it's a pretty
when I
good sport.
when I did it once, I felt like it was more of a mental game to just like keep
hmm
yourself going because you actually have time to like pace yourself, but you also need to like
You
go.
need to be going fast.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
why I like the 100. Like all you do is sprint. There's no,
It's done, right? Yeah. So
yeah, you
no
don't
way.
have to like time yourself for anything. Yeah. Um, and okay, so kind of transitioning
Hmm.
into after college, you went to go, you spent, like you just mentioned.
Say that again.
Sorry, I heard something else and I couldn't
Yeah,
tell.
that was my phone that
Oh,
decided to go off right at the
oh,
time.
oh, good. I just wanted to check. And I was wondering if you could take us through the journey of kind of, because you said you went to go work for the school you went to, and like
Hmm.
what your journey across the field of education been like?
So, I mean, the experience has been pretty interesting from a lot of different perspectives. Um, Joining your alma mater is always, feels pretty good because, especially if you enjoyed the experience at your alma mater, you want to showcase it to others. So, while I was in working for Lehigh, I was running their not their ambassador program, but their overnight program. So the program where students would spend an evening, a day, or the weekend with Lehigh students and get a chance to see what it's like to be actually on campus and experiencing Lehigh for the first time. So it was really kind of a fun intro kind of a job to have as far as doing that part. Interviewing, of course, reading files, of course, but also doing outreach to different communities to sort of say, hey, Lehigh's a great place if you've never thought about it before. Here's an opportunity. I'm here to talk to you about it. But I also was doing a lot of educational things. I was doing a program called Access and Choice, which is we were going out into communities that have students who are underrepresented within the college experience, who don't consider college as an option for them, and basically doing skits and workshops on how to prepare for college
Wait, that's
and look at that as a possible pathway for you. We didn't think that college was necessarily a pathway that everybody needed to take, but we wanted to make sure you had the options and you knew what it was all about. So that was a really great experience as well because I worked with a lot of great admissions practitioners and who were veterans and also, starting off new like I was. And so it was really a great time to sort of learn a lot of skills. So I really enjoyed that as well.
yeah, that work sounds super meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was definitely not just sort of like, yeah, it's great that, I was bringing students to Lehigh, but it was also for me, it was really important to be doing some kind of giving back to the community. So I really enjoyed that component of it as well.
For sure. And I was also wondering, are there any particular interactions or experiences from that really like helped shape your educational philosophy or taught you lessons that
Mhm. I think for me, what I did a lot of work on understanding that everybody's path is going to look different. And so, and of course, because we had a college of arts, we had a college of engineering, a college of business at Lehigh. It was also, different students would be gravitating towards different kinds of interests and experiences that they were having that were making them choose Lehigh as a place. So I always thought that was great because I got to see lots of different types of students who would be applying for Lehigh.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just out of curiosity, did you go travel to these communities to do this?
I did. I had different regions actually. I had everything. I had the Caribbean. If I had New Orleans. I had New York City. I had Ohio, in particular Cleveland, Ohio. I actually at one point I actually had California as a recruiting area. So
So
it's
you
sort
were
of funny that now I'm back here and I moved here to California. So it's sort of funny.
did
That
that,
was that first job.
yeah.
So
And so you were kind of flying all over the place to,
I was flying all over the place.
that's
Uh,
helpful.
So it was also great because I got to see a lot of the country that way, and it sort of allowed me to say, I could live here maybe later on in life.
That is pretty nice
So
compared.
that was actually really a great opportunity. Uh, my God, I had North Carolina at one point, Kentucky. So yeah, so I got to see a lot of the states.
Yeah, I hope to one day have like a job like that where I could just kind of see the US because I feel like even though I've traveled, I've always just gone to the same places with my family. We haven't
Right,
really
exactly.
did
This
anywhere.
sort of forces you out there and
Yeah.
into different places that you're like, oh, I don't know about Ohio. I've never been there before. Okay, let's go check it out.
Yeah.
Um, so um, so it was a lot. It's a growing time as far as like everything from how to present well, do presentations, plan, schedule, different events and itineraries. So there were a lot of skills that you were working on as you did the admissions job. The admissions job, I think, is one that you built lots of skill sets in, everything from knowing how to, strike up a conversation to knowing how to assess a situation and maybe having to change and pivot what you're doing. So flexibility, I think, is one of the things that probably learned a lot doing this job.
Yeah, I can imagine. That sounds like something you'd have to do a lot.
Yeah.
And and also thank you for saying Lehigh because Lehigh has sent me a lot of emails, but I've always thought it was called Lay. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, that's
Like
probably
the what is it, the school, like, there is actually a lay school here
yeah,
uh
like I've heard that.
in the Bay Area. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I think when I first saw it, I almost thought it was Lehigh as well. And wait, no, it's lay. So
Yeah, so thank you for teaching me that before I we went out into the world and said lay.
they go, what?
Lay what? Yeah, okay. So kind of now pivoting off of your background, I wanted to ask you a bit about your work in admissions and coaching. So correct me if I'm wrong, but currently at Crystal, you co-lead the Crystal First program and you were
In middle school.
in the
Hmm.
middle school. And you were formerly the director of diversity. And
Hmm.
I was wondering, could you speak a little bit about your work in those roles and kind of what you did?
So yeah, I know all of these. There are many roles that I've had or hats that I've worn while here at Crystal. As the director of diversity, we were a much smaller school. Um, at that point. I was doing it when we were only on the upper school campus, so the Hillsborough campus. And so 300, 50 students total that I was, working with at that time. So it was a little different, but I did lots of programming as far as working with our community to sort of understand how different perspectives and different ideas should come together and can work together, but also when and how to handle situations when somebody feels sort of threatened or bullied, how to talk about every topic from race to sexuality to um, gender differences and biases. And so I really got to do a lot of that. But when it was on that small of a scale, it was easy to still do that job and the admissions job.
Mhm.
So while I was in that role, I had to, once we started to grow, I had to split and had to decide which role to take. And since the admissions role was actually one that I had a lot of background in, as well as know that I could impact the school. Um, I thought I wanted to continue with that one. And I also thought we needed to do a little bit more with curriculum as well. And so the person who took over for me, I had a wealth of knowledge in curriculum based diversity work. So I thought that was a really important component of the next level of conversation that needed to happen at Crystal. So it was a sort of important point for me to let go of it at that time. So um, as Crystal first, for me, it's important to understand that, as somebody who doesn't necessarily have, their family may not have experienced an independent school before or even thought about college, um, that it's nice to have somebody who's sort of, I call a guide to helping make sure that you're navigating the process in a way that you're preparing yourself for the next uh, sort of markers in life. And for me, being a first gen person as well, it it sort of seemed natural for me to fall into that role of helping make sure that all of the other things that come with being in an independent school, well, these are the things you want to think about. Everything from um, how to prep for testing, how to do homework, how to, it's different. It's a little different in an independent school, I think, than it is when you're going through a public school. Um, the students here are much more focused, so you also have to be a little bit more focused. So I think that those um, are things that I can help a student and a family navigate while at Crystal. So that's why I like doing Crystal first.
I see. That's so interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like
Mhm.
I'm learning so much more about, like, I can't believe I've never known most of the stuff about you, having been your advisee. Um,
It's like there's a lot to learn. I've been here for a long time, right?
no,
I've
that's
been,
partly why I love doing these conversations with teachers at Crystal in particular.
Mhm.
It's like I was talking to Miss Kim and I was like, oh my God, she does so much. I did not
Yeah.
know she does half the stuff that she does. It's like it's so interesting being
I
able
know
to.
you live several lives, and this is what you have to look forward to is that you're going to live several lives before before it's all over. Yeah, it's just the experiences that you get a chance to do.
For sure. Yeah. And I think honestly, like Crystal students should know more about the roles that the adults play in the community. Because
Mhm.
I feel like before I started having these conversations, I feel like a lot of students came from a similar perspective where they're like, oh,
Right.
like this person does this, that's it. Like, what's their role at Crystal? But
Yeah.
then I feel like students should like know so they can better appreciate, oh my God, sorry. They can better
Guys, again.
the adults around them. Yeah. And yeah, it's so interesting how you kind of shifted from multiple roles to admissions. And now
Hmm.
speaking about admissions,
Hmm.
I was wondering what's the process like? Because I know Crystal evaluates applicants holistically, and
Hmm.
especially as from such a young age, I feel like fifth graders are very young in comparison to
Yeah,
people going.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Mhm. And having been someone who personally went through that process, I remember
Mhm.
it very clearly, even though it was a long time ago. But I was wondering, what is the process like, and kind of what are some things you guys consider, if you could speak about that.
But I think it's like anything else. When you go through a process and as you were saying, you're looking at it holistically. You're not only looking at the student, but you're also looking up at the makeup of the class. You're looking at, what already is at Crystal. What are some of the students' interests? Do they coincide with what are the things that we can offer at Crystal? I mean, I think that, you want to fully engage in a community. And so that's what when you're looking at the holistic sort of student, you're looking to see whether or not they can fully engage in everything from the learning to the arts to the athletics to community. Are they glue kids? I call it. And glue is a very interesting word, but it's somebody who brings others together because it is a community, and so you want students who can work together. So you're looking for, everything from soft skills to more, tangible skills that are like, can they handle math? Can they handle write? Can they write an essay? So, you're looking at all those different types of things for a student. You're looking at how they work with others. And so you put all those pieces together, and then you try to you also look at what the makeup of the class is starting to shape up to be, and all those things start to play into how you're looking at bringing in a class that hopefully, you know, truly engages with the programming that Crystal has to offer. Um, I I always like to say it's like, you know, when you look at a community that you want to join, it's the same kind of thing. You're looking to see, do I, does it fit for me? Does it work for me? And so we're hoping that we're also having that opportunity to sort of bring students together who we think would fit and would also enjoy the experience that is Crystal.
Yeah, for sure. I think.
So is it one thing? No. Is it multiple things? Yes. And is it things that could change from year to year? Yes. I always tell families, they go, well, is there a formula? And I'm like, actually, it really isn't.
Mhm,
A formula is stagnant.
mhm,
It's fixed. There are variables, just like so. A little math there for you, but yes, there are variables. So I talk to families about that. There are variables that will change. There are some fixed variables. I think we hope we have students who are curious
mhm,
about learning.
mhm.
I think that's probably the only fixed variable I can actually honestly say.
Yeah, for sure. So just like what you're saying, it's less of just we're looking to meet a standard metric of
Hmm.
it's more of a how the student contributes to the whole
Right.
body as of the grade as a whole, and also kind of how the student kind of fits and it's like a lot of moving pieces all together.
Right, lots of moving pieces. Again, they're really the only fixed thing is that they are curious about learning and they want to learn.
Yes, for sure.
Uh, there are kids who that's not their thing, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. I think
But they self-select out, to be honest.
yeah, because one thing I think I was talking to Mr. Davis about when during our conversation was about how because my brother is going into Crystal next year.
Hmm.
Previously, I mean he was in fifth grade and
Hmm.
I got a chance to meet a lot of his friends, his class
Hmm.
at open houses and stuff. And some of the things that I noticed were so interesting. It's like the parents were putting the kids into pre-calculus as a fourth or fifth grader or
Hmm.
forcing them to do all these like academic things. And I was thinking about like this should be your time to figure out what you're interested in and like your
Right.
rather than learning a subject that you're going to be learning again in high school.
Hmm.
So I was wondering, how do you approach, because you were saying like genuine passion and
Hmm.
curiosity in learning, but how do you kind of identify whether it's a student's genuine passion versus some, because I know at a young age it's
Hmm.
different than going into
Right.
college, but like how do you identify that from parents
I
who
think some of it is what a student says to you, what they write about.
Mhm.
Um, it's also how they show up at school, at their current school, right? Those are things that you can, you have information on. So I think that those are real important tools to make sure you're looking at and metrics that you're looking at, to be honest. And then, to be honest, I think at the end of the day, it's like there's also some, as they say, admissions isn't a science, it's more of an art. um, you
like that.
have enough institutional and tenure as from doing this that you start to see when a student is putting that forward and when parent is putting that forward.
So it's pretty easy to tell that
It's
it.
not always easy to tell, but it's definitely something that there are definitely tells that
Mhm,
tell you when the student really is into it. It's things they say,
mhm.
things that they do or they share with you.
Yeah, because it's
Uh,
you were saying all the parts. So what you're saying, it's like if the teacher recommendation aligns with the interview, which aligns
mm,
with
right.
is that what you're getting at? Or
Those are things that are giving us some clues, yeah.
I see. That's so interesting. I've never really thought about it from
Mm.
that perspective because I've always thought like, oh, they're fifth graders. They're so tiny and like
They
they're like
are. They're fun.
yeah. Mhm.
And to be honest, they're probably the most truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have an opportunity to be with them.
For sure. Kind of about the truthful part, the academic student council, which is the little thing I do at the upper school, we did
Hmm.
a survey to all the middle schoolers. We did about AI and like their relationship towards it and
Hmm.
their struggle and stuff like that. And we asked
Yeah.
like, straightforward questions, but also some more open-ended ones. And one thing we noticed is that the sixth graders are very blunt and very straightforward with what they're like, AI is bad. It's replacing creativity. It's just so
Yes,
different of a perspective than what you see every day at the upper
right.
school.
And it gets more nuanced as you get older, right?
Because I'd say probably middle school was when I changed the most as a,
Hmm.
or I know that's not true, but like I changed a lot through middle school and
There are definitely moments in middle school that I think are
very,
big changes in your life,
yeah.
and they do come in middle school, and then I think there's some other ones that happen. I think sophomore year of high school. So I do think that they're definitely it's definitely a moving, kind of measurement as far as your changes. Some students take that change on earlier, some of them take it on later. So it's always fascinating to sort of see
Mhm.
um,
About
how
from
that happens for different folks.
yeah, for sure. And like what you're evaluating from an admissions perspective is more of like their potential in
Hmm.
the change because
Yeah,
you guys probably take that into account as well.
exactly. And there are sometimes like when you do that, it's like that's you potential does matter.
Mhm.
So we do try to do that as well.
I think we should clip this part of the interview and like send it to all the prospective parents and be like, don't put your kids into calculus as a fifth grader. We can,
Well, and of course, it's always funny because then we don't have any of them in the math is the same for everybody in sixth grade. So I
yeah,
think that we've already made that very clear.
yeah,
That's not they're not going to advance past our intro.
yeah, for sure. I think that's one thing Crystal does very well because I'm pretty sure at other school, I had a friend, she's like one of the smartest people I know, but
Hmm.
she took all her high school classes when she was in middle school, and she basically just went to community college all of high school, and it's just like, because the school she went to let her do that, and that just
Right.
absolutely insane. And I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad path, but it's very different
It's
than
a different path.
very,
And I think some opportunities like that can be really cool when they're an enhancement of what you're doing.
yeah,
But knowing that there's a process and there are things that you may miss
yeah, for sure.
because you've not sort of just kind of
Yeah,
gone through the process of understanding how to pick apart a problem. And I think that that's really one of the things I think um, is important is like it's not just the formula, it's really how do you get to that formula? How did we arrive there?
yeah,
The
not just
person who's going to create something new in that subject is probably the person who's been taking their time and really sort of delving deeper
not just like
into.
taking like hitting benchmarks and passing.
Right,
It's more of like taking the time to dwell on it.
exactly.
And I wanted to ask you a little bit about this. I know we're kind of running out of time and I don't want to hold
Hmm.
for too long, but I have two more questions for you.
Sure.
That's okay. So my first one was I was also wondering in regards to middle school admissions, what has the role of the rise of AI and technology been? Because I feel like I don't know how much more applicable it is to because I'm going through college apps
Hmm.
to college applications and high school applications versus sixth grade applications. What do you
So we are well aware of AI, and
really?
yes,
I didn't
yes.
know.
Funny how that works at Crystal. We have lots of conversations about it.
Oh, really?
In the admissions office, we've become more and more creative with how we get information from students to minimize AI influence. The parent, for example, the perfect example is the parent um, part of the application. And you know this from your mom is that it's a video.
Yeah. You have to
It
talk to
is it is no longer a written component because AI takes away from the idea of really us getting to know what really matters to the family. That's AI is figuring out what they think admissions offices want to hear, sorry. So changing it to a video has allowed the parent to have to be in the moment,
yeah.
has to share with us what they think. The same goes for the students. It's in the moment. It's no longer a essay that they get to work on and massage multiple times. It's in the moment. that we're asking for. So we're doing a lot more things that are in the moment. We're using technology to help us with that in the moment. So you can still do it online, you can still do it at home, but it's in one sitting. It's not something that they're timed. So a little bit more um, an opportunity for us to just hear your real thoughts, as opposed to whether or not, you can get AI to give you what the thoughts should be.
Yeah.
And so that's our hope, is that then we're getting the student who really values the creativity, who really values the learning, because that's really you know what we think is the heart of being here at Crystal. So
For sure. Like I feel like even before AI, when I was applying to Crystal, a student or a parent could easily write the essays or like significantly influence the student's essay
right.
or even hire someone to write it for, I don't know.
Yes, exactly. So we sort of are attempting to try to make it much more of a human connection.
Yeah, and I think that's because I think I was talking to my brother after he did his timed essay, and he was saying how he basically just wrote what he thought in the moment. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like,
Yeah, that's
great.
the idea.
And yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that's super interesting. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'd never really considered because I know with a lot of high school assessments, it's kind of shifting to AI proof it, but with admissions,
Mhm.
how that's the case as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it really has shifted what I think schools are thinking about
Yeah.
if they want the authentic person, which is still challenging, even with all of those things. There's still challenges to whether or not you really are getting the authentic person.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Hmm.
And one final question that
Hmm.
I ask everyone that I speak to, but I was wondering, after all your experience, if you could go back and tell your high school self one thing that you know today, what would it be? And do you have any like specific advice for high schoolers?
Hmm. I think I would tell my high school self, you know, take the time while you're in school to really delve into the topics, because what I've learned is that you look back on that and you're going, like, I thought I was going to do this and I was going to go this pathway, you know, and so you do things sometimes for thinking this is going to be your pathway, and then you realize your pathway is going to ended up changing. And so, like, if there's something that is of interest to you, take it. Um, don't think, oh, that's not going to benefit my long term, because you don't know what your long term is going to look like. Had my high school self been told that this is what my job was going to be, they would have laughed. So I think that that is really what it is. It's like, do the things that, take all the solid courses, but also if there's an interesting subject or topic that comes up in a class that's offered, take it.
I think that's super powerful, and I think I've seen this a lot in a lot of both my peers and just other students kind of just
Mhm.
or personally for me too, because sorry, I'm gonna go off on a bit of a tangent, but
No,
it's
no.
I went into high school. I saw online all these like high schoolers, college
Mm,
students, and also students at Crystal who were older than me,
mm,
like doing science and research and like being
mm.
super successful in it. And I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what a successful student does. And
Right.
I mean, I found out I was actually really interested in it, which was
Which is good, right?
one thing I wish I could go back and tell my freshman self is like, go try mock trial, go
Mm.
join the track team, just go try everything.
Yeah.
You're not, because it's good to have an idea of what you want to do, but the
Mm.
problem is when that idea restricts you from kind of
Right.
expanding.
You miss out on things that you would have done otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I just got pretty lucky with,
Mm.
I mean, I think everything in life happens for a reason, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, very grateful. I don't know, academic student council and like some clubs I
Yeah.
did, people I met really just helped expand what I was
Mm.
interested in and kind of break that perception, which
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky because it happened pretty early on for me. And yeah, I think
And
a lot of underclassmen, and I think it's very important to make sure the culture at Crystal can cultivate that because
mm,
I've seen issues in which upperclassmen are like telling underclassmen to join this organization because it'll help with your college apps. It'll look important
mm,
on your like that's not the point, and we do not
right.
want to instill that
And it
in
may not, to be honest.
yeah.
There's
And
no, again,
it's just so
the idea that there's a formula that is going to be the right formula isn't necessarily true.
yeah, exactly. And I was like seeing social media accounts and like people posting.
Mm,
I was getting so mad because I think it's one thing if you do it yourself, but if you're telling younger students to do that too, that's sorry.
right.
Yeah, and that's also one thing that the Academic Student Council will hopefully be tackling
Mm,
and just breaking that culture because I did an extracurricular where I was in the Southeast Bay for a
mm,
long time and I got to meet a lot of students there. And I think there's really bad mental health, suicide, depression
mm,
rates there because of the like demographics and academic pressure. And I think
mm,
a lot of that pressure stems from the environment and whatever culture is accepted. And I feel
right.
really strongly that the culture at Crystal remains the way it is because it's truly so harmful to
Mm.
a
Yeah, I
student.
mean, you don't, yeah, yeah, I'm hoping that that continues and we continue to cultivate that. So,
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I just like went off on a
no,
really
no, no, it's all good. This is
yeah,
your podcast.
that is true. I can say whatever.
That's right. This is yours.
Fine. Shut up.
That's
Yeah.
right. You shush. I have to say.
So yeah, thank you again, Mr. Willis, for everything you shared. I think I truly learned so much, and I think a lot of high schoolers could benefit from hearing what you said throughout our entire conversation. And yeah,
Well,
I enjoyed speaking with you. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed my conversation with Mr. Willis. A huge thank you to Mr. Willis for taking the time to speak with me, and thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you guys next time.